It's been reported that King Charles, Queen Camilla, and members of the royal family will be invited to Invictus, Harry's famous and undoubtedly an important achievement, in July 2027. Now, this does present a conundrum for the king. I mean, he, according to reports, in fact, according to Harry, he isn't speaking to his father at the moment, and reportedly he and William haven't spoken since Queen Elizabeth's funeral. It's a really deep rift, as we all know. However, Invictus is a very significant military charity. The king is commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and it's almost certain that he would be expected to appear. Certainly in normal circumstances he would. In 2014, when Invictus was launched, Prince Charles, as he was then, the then Duchess of Cornwall and Prince William all attended. This was the opening. So the fact that the finale of Invictus in 2027 clashes with Queen Camilla's 80th birthday isn't really the point. What we'll see here, of course, is an effort at reconciliation, or that's the way the Sussexes will paint it. Now, I don't believe for a second that Birmingham is an accidental venue. I think it may very well be part of a PR exercise whereby the Sussexes will at least be seen to offer reconciliation. And it would be a very difficult position for the king, because you've got this extremely deep royal rift, and also you've got the fact that there is the important military connection. Invictus is a very significant military charity. As Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the fact that this charity, which helps serving and veteran members of the armed forces, those who have disabilities, who are sick and so forth, it's something, obviously, that he would normally undoubtedly be attending. Now, the question marks are, if there is a form of reconciliation between King Charles and Queen Camilla, who presumably would accompany him if he attended, and the Sussexes, what would they want and what would it take? After all, the king is battling cancer, as we know, and the Princess of Wales is in remission. It's a really tough time for the royal family. Prince William described last year as brutal. So what would reconciliation actually mean if it happened? Because after all, any family, it's a goal that everyone says or must say they want to aim at. Firstly, there's a security issue. We know that Prince Harry was furious when it was decided that only an invitation from the royal family would give him the automatic police protection for him and his family that he wanted. On the other hand, there's always a way, despite that extremely unwise and intemperate interview, always a way this can be arranged. After all, if there's an invitation from the royal family, then he and his family get it. Also, they might conceivably want, or might attract them not to return to royal duties. They certainly don't want that, and we know what a disaster that was when they were full-time working royals. They have their own life in Montecito, but there are cases, for example, Trooping the Colour, Royal Ascot, a garden party, that would undoubtedly appeal, because of course anything of that sort would be, or there'd be photographs, videos, that go online. All of this would be of immeasurable use for the Sussexes' profile. Because one thing the Sussexes do have, they've made mistake after mistake in many ways, but they do have a very, very significant international profile. Everybody knows who they are, and indeed, when they attack the royal family, and there's been less of that, fortunately, recently, but it seems to have restarted with Harry on the BBC in that interview after he was denied automatic police security, and Meghan, in a recent, interminably long podcast interview, talked about her truth, and that brings back echoes of Oprah. But it's the interview with Oprah, it's the Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, and it's Harry's memoir Spare that are the most notorious examples of how destructive the Sussexes have been since they stepped down as senior working royals, making Queen Elizabeth's last years extremely difficult. However, looking to the future, it appears that they want to put an HRH in Archie and Lily's passports, and it has been reported, hold open some more possible chance of them being working royals one day. That is, in my view, extremely unlikely. I can't see either King Charles or one day William agreeing to that. But we don't, of course, know what the future holds. There's no question that an invitation to appear, almost certainly at the opening of the Invictus Games, is something that the King will have to take extremely seriously and may well attend, obviously, with Queen Camilla. I would have thought it most unlikely that William and Catherine would attend, but we are looking, of course, at something that's happening 2 years in advance. Given the problems that serious illnesses have caused the royal family, as we know, it's very difficult to look that far ahead. But there's no doubt that this is a challenge, a direct challenge from the Sussexes to the royal family.